So I got two, not one, but two really what I would say tough reviews out this week. One, if you haven't seen it, was on the Nerve Run Smart Insoles, and the other one was on the 8 Sleep Pod Pro Smart Mattress. Like I've said before a bunch of times, the amount of research I do is the longest part. I'm looking through clinical studies. I'm looking at intellectual property, anything that I could possibly find on this stuff, reviewing it, making sure and validating that all the facts that I'm saying are the best. And, you know, it could be a miss sometimes. I've only had one instance where someone actually said that I misinterpreted some of the data. It was kind of in a gray area, but their point was valid. And I do my best and trying to make sure I don't do that in my videos. So both of those videos, amazing products, full transparency. They were both sent to me. I think I said before that one of the Nerve employees actually rode her bike through Westlake Hills, where I'm at here in Austin, and dropped it off. Super nice. Couldn't have been a nicer person. Another reason why I love living in Austin and don't miss South Florida at all. So that was a pleasure to review and use. The main thing that we're going to talk about today is running tech, the products that I do love and the products that I may want to use in the future. So if you haven't seen that review, go check it out. I'm super excited. And not only that, there's a bunch of other ways. Like when I'm going to review the Nike Metcon 7 in my next video, I'm going to be utilizing the pressure sensors of the Nerve Run Smart insole to show you where balance is and foot placement and how my foot feels in the shoe as I'm doing different lifts. So it's going to expand beyond what I think Nerve even imagined for someone like me who's reviewing different shoes for fitness and CrossFit and whatnot. And then the 8 Sleep Pod Pro, I think the next podcast will be more on like sleep tech and sleep data and stuff that I can expand on that I didn't cover in that video. I hate being like that when I'm like, God, I love every video, every product. But I mean, it is what it is. These products that I'm getting, I review prior. I've turned down products thinking, I know for a fact I'm not going to like that. So when I get the product, there is probably a 90% likelihood that I'm going to like the product, which with the 8 Sleep Pod Pro, I did. So we'll touch more on like the sleep tech stuff and probably next week's episode of the podcast and my adventures of sleep and improving my sleep. But for now, we're going to just mainly focus on talking about running tech. But there's going to be other topics that I want to talk about too. So before that, some housekeeping notes. I'm going to start not pushing, but mentioning the ways to support the channel. I am an affiliate of now a number of things. And the way that I determine whether or not I'm going to be an affiliate is first, companies do reach out and they say, hey, we would like you to sign up for this affiliate. And it's on products that I've never even used. Not going to happen. The way I do it is first, I use the product. I get extended use of it. I validate my experience with it. I look at the tech and I try to see, if it's different, if it's something I like. Next, just because I like it doesn't mean I would necessarily recommend it to the masses. If it is something that I would recommend to everyone and I think it's an awesome product to have, then I'll move forward with the affiliate link because I want you, the viewer, who is watching my reviews to experience the product as well. And as long as there's no additional cost on your end and you can buy through a link, then there's like that quid pro quo. I put a lot of work into my reviews. You like the product. Hey, why not utilize my link and then, you support the channel so I can keep expanding the amount of reviews I do because it gets pricey. I mean, a lot of these products, not all, I would say 95% aren't sent to me. So it's me paying out of pocket. And I got to grow the channel, which requires reinvestment of any ad revenue or any affiliate money that I can get through these links. So full transparency, it's always going to be something I like, and nothing that I do for an affiliate has any influence on what I say or on the products I'm going to review. For example, let's talk about some of the affiliate links that I will put in the description, whether or not you're listening to this on the podcast or on YouTube. Number one, the Whoop Strap. I mean, I got a whole series on the Whoop Strap, and it doesn't stop me from using other products. Like we're talking about running tech in a bit. I got the Garmin watch. But for a 24/7 metric tracking device for my fitness, I have yet to find anything come close to what the Whoop strap does. Now, I understand the biggest con of the Whoop strap is that monthly cost, but I do have a link. If you don't have a Whoop strap, get $30 off any of the memberships. Will be linked in the description. I think it's join.whoop/Wes if you're listening. Up next, this is a new one. It is First Form. I mentioned the supplement brands that I like in a previous podcast. First Form, I have personal ties to the company. And just because I have personal ties doesn't mean that that's why I'm utilizing their products. They are from my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. One of my best friends in the world works there. They took me in, and I got, because he was able to bring a guest, I was able to work out their facility. It's beautiful. They treat their employees incredibly well. You know that because I was there on a weekend, and the employees were all over the place having a great time. But the company started with Andy Frisella wanting to make a premium brand of supplements, something that you know what's going in, that you can have trust. They're very transparent on what they do. So just from the beginnings, it's something that I've always trusted. Especially as a college athlete, people were getting busted for some random crap because of supplements they were taking, and you really want trust in what you're taking. So First Form, link in the description will be they have a bunch of products. So it's not going to stop me from reviewing other products. If I see stuff out there, I'm still going to use things like Athletic Greens, Go One More Sport by BPN. But for the most part, my general fitness supplement stack, which is like protein, like stuff like that, or anything else that I'm exploring, is going to be from First Form. Love their products, great company. So link in the description if you want to buy and check out their supplements as well. Lastly, 8 Sleep. Like I said before, a lot of vetting. And by the way, this whole affiliate stuff will get trimmed down. It's just a lot of explanation up front. 8 Sleep. I do have a discount code, Wes, $100 off the mattress or the Pod Pro. Like I said before, I made sure I liked the device, tested the device, reviewed the device before recommending it to any of the viewers. So if you do buy it, use a discount code Wes and my link in the description to get $100 off. Okay, so I'll work on shortening that down, or maybe I'll just put like a little kind of reel on the podcast. That way I don't have to talk about it all the time. But it's always going to be a way to support the channel. I prefer the quid pro quo relationship stuff. Like I don't, there's Patreon stuff where people can just flat out donate, but I'm someone that would prefer that you get something for the money that you're putting in. And of course, the other way to support the channel is just to watch the ads. Turn off that ad blocker. I do it. A lot of times when I'm watching videos of other content creators, I'll let the whole ad reel go. You don't have to do that, but appreciate any support. Next bit of housekeeping news, asking for some more support, and this one's for charity. So on August 7th here in Austin, Texas, at my gym, CrossFit Central downtown, I'll be participating in a deadlift off for the Flatwater Foundation. This is a local Austin charity that provides mental health support and family support to people that have been touched by cancer diagnosis. Very touching charity. And the way that we're doing it is that there's a commitment of the donation per pound. So for me, being around 550, 560 for my deadlift, if you were to commit 10 cents a pound, then you'd be looking at, first I got to do the lift. But once I do the lift, then you're looking at like a $55 donation to the Flatwater Foundation. So link in the description. I created a form on my website for your commitment. And then afterwards, I'll provide proof. It'll be on my social media, or I'll just email it to you and say, hey, this is what I did. And there will be a link to donate directly to the foundation. Appreciate any support of anything that I talked about, whether it's the affiliate links. I would rather have the support for the charity because, it's a great cause. So let's get into it. Before we get into running tech, I want to talk about people talking shit on CrossFit. Not so much just CrossFit, but people talking shit in general on other people's fitness. Like what they want to do. I probably was guilty of this in my teens, maybe early 20s in college. I mean, CrossFit was an easy target at the beginning because there was CrossFit fails and a lot of people getting hurt. It was a very immature sport, I would say at the time, not something that was generally available or known or educated to the general public. So you see these people doing snatches or cleans for time, Olympic lifting movements that generally weren't something that you do for time. The Olympics are coming up, and you're going to see one lift. Going to be a lot of time on the clock. They're going to go out there, perform one lift, and then they're done. And then they'll come back and they'll do two or three or one or two other attempts after that. But this idea, I mean, if you're going to be a content creator, whether you're doing TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, you're going to get hate. You can't avoid it. You can't please everyone. You can piss off everyone. That's for damn sure. But you can't please everyone with whatever your platform is. So I see and I receive hate generally. I brush it off. I don't care. Sometimes I crack up and I respond, "Who hurt you?" Like, what's your deal? But I just don't like this general idea because I do see, as people get more popular on things like TikTok, they get generally hurt and discouraged, and it's not a great thing. Now you can say, get tougher skin because it is the internet, but what the hell are these keyboard warriors doing and commenting? CrossFit's probably one of the biggest targets that I see. Baseball, I played baseball in my life. I see a lot of shit posts on baseball of people just saying it's not a sport, all this stuff, whatever. How about some support? It's one thing if someone is doing a movement wrong, they could get hurt. They are doing something to put themselves in danger. But it's another thing that if someone is generally out there getting fit, doing their thing, what I like to preach here is I don't care. And I tell this to other people, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you golf all day, every day and getting your steps in, if you play pickleball, if you're a rugby player, like the whole spectrum of fitness, as long as your ass is out there getting some strain on that heart and bringing down those numbers that I talked about in a previous podcast episode of all of this preventable death related to cardiovascular disease. I don't care what you're doing. Just do it well, and everyone should be supporting each other. That has been my favorite experience when the first time I felt this experience of a community of people encouraging one another was jiu-jitsu. It's a super humbling sport, and the higher the belt you are, it seems generally the nicer you were. I don't know if it's just like you're not afraid of anything because you can kill anyone with your bare hands, or it was just a general respect for the sport, understanding your journey from the bottom to the top and helping each other out. I quit doing jiu-jitsu because it was like being in school, huge time commitment. Anytime I missed a class, I felt super guilty, and it was just something that wasn't good for me mentally. I would love to get back into it, but with a more casual stance, if you can possibly do that with jiu-jitsu. But when I left and decided I wasn't going to do that anymore, I was looking for something, and then there was CrossFit. And I felt the same community aspect at a CrossFit gym that I did at a jiu-jitsu gym. There's accountability, there's community, there's encouragement, there's all of this amazing support that you get to improve. And I would say now at 32 years of age, I'm in better shape than I was when I boasted myself as a college athlete, like an elite athlete at the time anyway. But I would tell myself now I would kick that guy's ass. Easy. I am stronger, less body fat, eating better, all this stuff. And anytime I miss the gym, I get a text or whatever from friends at the gym, be like, "Where were you?" and all that stuff. And it's not like the same mental thing where I'm missing moves of learning at jiu-jitsu. It's more of a, we missed you at the gym, and it would be nice, if you were there for support and working out. It's just great. So a little more support. I know this is a small vocal percentage of the population, but I just wanted to address it because it's so annoying. Like, I don't understand people, you can't bench press 225 for 10 reps. Who cares? Are you working out? Are you being fit? Are you being active? Go do it. Like, you don't see these elite, like, ultra marathoners talking crap on someone that can't run a mile. I promise you all these guys are just happy if they see you out there running and enjoying a sport that they're also into. That's how these people are. Okay, so enough of that. Kind of easy transition right into running tech that I want to talk about. I love it. I don't even know why. Like, do I even have to say that I love tech? Like, I mean, that's the whole purpose of this video, is using tech and products that enhance our ability to be fit in whatever aspect or sport that we're doing. The Nerve Run Smart insoles to date are my favorite piece of running tech that I've personally used. Why? Like I said in the video, I had bad knees in college. It was complete crap the way that my high school coach, my senior year, he was out the door, retiring, wasn't happy with his job anymore. I mean, he was out the door. And he ran us into the ground, and I would say I was probably I was in fact one of the better players at my high school. I went to a small high school. I knew I was going to play in college somewhere, but you still got to be part of the team and do what the coach is telling you and respect and anything. And if I would go back, I wish I would have. It probably would have been better for my baseball career to had not played for this man than I did play for him and hurt my knees, because it was constant running on concrete. My form was crap. For whatever reason, he was obsessed with us running stairs constantly. And then we would practice. Like, I know we just talked about baseball and not being a real sport or whatever. You need endurance to a certain extent, which is having to do with focus. Something people don't really understand is there is a lot of standing around, but the more fit you are, the more focused you can be throughout the game, especially when you're going into 9 innings, and baseball games can go 2.5, 3, sometimes upwards of 4 hours. I mean, the pace of the game. And I will say the pace of the game is a lot faster when you're actually hands-on and down the field. When you stand in the batter's box, you see a 95-plus mile an hour fastball. It looks a hell of a lot faster than it does on TV or up from the stands. But it just didn't make any sense what he was doing with us as far as running. And I never came back from that. Had bad knees, started developing the knee pain, and it was my patella. One of the reasons was, in fact, that I was striking way too damn hard on my heels. Another thing was I've always been quad dominant. I've always had bigger legs. I've always been able to squat naturally quite a bit. And there was weakness just all around. Running form and my leg muscles, and it all came down to bad patella. So then freshman year, I get talked to and recruited to play baseball at a D2 school in St. Louis. I think I could have played at a much better school, but I mean, it is what it is. So I'm catching. Freshman year, can't do it. Got to rehab. Spent a whole year rehabbing. Went to play summer ball. Had the best season ever that I've ever had, all with not great pain. Had to wear knee braces constantly. Didn't catch the whole summer just to preserve my knees. And then sophomore year, went back at it. Tried to, rehabilitate myself. And it just came down to the fact that I just physically couldn't do it anymore. And it was one, you're either going to do knee surgery, which included just slices up the knees and scars forever, or two, you stop playing baseball and you spend the next whatever amount, like indefinitely until you feel better, on doing physical therapy exercises and going to PT. I decided, academically, that's where my future was going to be. I still was a mechanical engineering student at the time. I don't think I had flopped over to biochemistry as of yet, but that was taking up all my time. I mean, when you're a college athlete, A lot of people are business majors, and I'm spending hours and hours in lab, running to practice. It was too much. It was too much. I was also part of a fraternity that I was very involved in, and it just decided not to do it anymore. So ended up doing a lot of physical therapy, got back into running because I like having different challenges. And my sister was in the Air Force. She's still in the Air Force as a reservist, flight nurse, but she was active duty at the time. She was up in Alaska. I think she was at Elmendorf, and signed up for the Air Force marathon that happens in Dayton, Ohio every year. And I thought, you know what? That's a challenge. I'm not great at running distances. I mean, I played baseball, avoided playing high school soccer because I just didn't want to run that much. So I said, what the hell? And after the rehabilitation and everything, I was running very well. Went to a few instances of running coach, and it was great, but it was like $150 a pop of this person watching my running form, running back video, giving me exercises to run better. After I did the half marathon, I was like, okay, I'm done. Got beefed up, started lifting more because I didn't diet properly. I wasn't healthy. Like I got down, like right now I'm 205 and I feel pretty good. Could drop 5 to 10 pounds and probably feel even better, especially with the gymnastics movements and CrossFit. But I had gotten down to like 175. I didn't feel good. I looked sickly. I just didn't do anything right that I was supposed to as far as dieting for this half marathon. So that ran me into the ground mentally more than I was physically run down. So cut to now, want to get back into running. Through the whole quarantine, through COVID quarantine, when the gyms were closed, which was a minimal amount of time compared to the rest of the country when I was still living in Florida, and I was in South Beach at the time, did a lot of running, was running 5+ miles a day, did a 100-mile running challenge with my gym, was a lot of fun. Started feeling like the knee pain came back, stopped doing it after that, and now we're here. Nerve Run Smart insoles, awesome coach. It gives me a lot of the insight that I was getting, but it was like a verbal insight and visual through video insight through the running coach. This showing the pressure sensing, showing my pronation, showing where I landed my foot, giving me some exercises and coaching. It's all there, and this is all the stuff that I was doing. So I love it. The $300 price tag for me is absolute no-brainer if you are someone that wants to get into running and wants to do it properly and stop yourself from being hurt. So let's talk other kind of tech, like other reviews that I've done. Reaching down, if you're listening, I'm pulling up the Nike AlphaFly Next Percents. There's no reason in the world I should own these except for I wanted to do a review of the intellectual property in these things for the YouTube review, and the fact that this is the shoe that Eliud Kipchoge wore to break the 2-hour marathon barrier, with an asterisk on that just because there was some other tools like the pacing that was used. I've never felt anything like this shoe. I talk about it. It just goes to show you how much tech is being pushed and how much further there is to go as far as the unimaginable. I'm getting kind of like romantic with this thought of shoes, of performance in shoes. Who in their mind could have dreamed up something like this except a company owned by a passionate runner, Phil Knight? And there was a time period when Nike wasn't at the top of their game when they created the Breaking 2 project, which was in fact for Kipchoge to break the 2-hour marathon. That's when they wanted to reclaim, and I think it's been quite a few years now, they wanted to reclaim themselves as the running shoe company. And damn it if they aren't. Olympics coming up. This is going to be the shoe, without a doubt in my mind. This is a shoe that is legal. Kipchoge's wasn't. I'm not exactly sure all the different aspects of his prototype versus what actually went to market, but this shoe is legal, and I feel bad for anyone that has some sort of sponsors with other companies like Brooks or Asics or whatever, because they can't compete. They just can't compete to the amount of R&D that was put in this and the funding and everything else. If you look at any sort of marathon, like the Boston Marathon especially, it is just Nike check marks all over the place. They're dominating. I do love other ones, like my standard running shoe that if you saw on the Nerve Run Smart insoles is the Hoka One One. Smaller company, big fan. They have the Metal Rocker geometry in their sole. And here's one thing, bringing the shoe back up, and I'll describe it if you're listening, is people like to comment on my videos like with the heel striking. Again, if you're a heel striker, there's nothing wrong with that unless you're someone like me, like I mentioned in the video, that has injuries that could result from striking too hard on the heel. But you look at this heel, this is specifically made for heel strikers. So is the Metal Rocker geometry on the Hoka One One and a lot of other shoes, because 90 to 95%, this is validated, you can look this up in any clinical study, of people run with heels. But the odd thing is that when you switch to barefoot, you go to a forefoot strike, because landing on that hard bone on your heel is not good. So just a little thing there that you look for. And then Nike's reclaiming, and I think they've well beyond done it, to be the king of the running shoe tech. And I'll say also, these are like moon shoes. This Air Zoom tech that they have in here is absolutely incredible. I've just never put on a shoe. So this is the AlphaFly Next Percent. The Vaporfly Next Percent was the previous shoe that you saw a bunch of times. I put that on, super light shoe, felt good, but wasn't that wow factor. You put this shoe on, it is wow all over. The upper is incredible. It's just an all-around light shoe. So we talk about footwear, and here's another interesting thing that I learned, and it's on this Disney Plus. It's like Jeff Goldblum explores the world or whatever the hell, or questions everything. I forgot what it's. Jeff Goldblum show on Disney Plus, and he did a Sneakerhead one. Within that episode, he went to the R&D facility of Adidas, and there was one thing where they put a shoe on him and they watched him run and they played it back, and they were looking at from that R&D aspect of the actual physical product. But they also hooked him up to a brain analyzer to see how he reacted in terms of emotions to the product. Because their studies have shown, and it makes absolute sense, that based on how you feel about the product on your feet, how it looks, how you feel like your perception to others is while you're wearing it, can actually improve performance. I mean, it's that whole look good, feel good, do good kind of mentality. And it's true. It's something that works for certain people. So if you get like a new tech product or you get new shoes, then it can actually help improve. I enjoy running in those Nike AlphaFly Next Percents more than any other shoe that I own. I'm just going to say that out loud. It just, they feel great. I think they look great. And that kind of goes to like how I'm evaluating like the Metcon 7s too. I think it's a better looking shoe than the Metcon 6. And I think that I feel better when I'm working out wearing them. Just a little thing that I learned that I thought was interesting to share. Running tech, let's talk smartwatches. I did a video on when I was running saying like I do like the Apple Watch if you're not running long distances, just because the battery life is absolute crap. I had the Apple Watch Series 4. I don't currently have it. That's something I gave to my brother-in-law. I'm going to be getting the next Apple Watch to review for sure. So I just didn't need it. I don't like owning a lot of things. Like as I'm doing product reviews and stuff, I'm either buying or receiving products, and I just don't want to keep them around. So I got to figure out how to deal with that in storage, work on giving away products at times. But just, yeah, I'm just not always going to have the product to compare, which is good and bad, because I know some people would like to see a side-by-side in videos. But my current favorite watch is the Garmin Fenix 5. It is a little heavy on the wrist, but the battery life is amazing. It's something I can wear. It's ultra durable, and it is the best GPS watch out there. I mean, it's Garmin. Garmin makes all types of GPS stuff for boats, for cars. It's just, as far as getting the most accurate reading of your distance, it's the number one name in the game. It's just what they do. But then again, it comes to the point of heart rate accuracy. A lot of people that run and do zone training and want to be very specific of keeping your heart rate in different heart rate zones. Even the Apple Watch is one that for an overall average, it's pretty damn accurate, except when you're trying to run in zones because of the optical sensing. I mean, if you don't know it, like the sensors at the bottom of your watch use optical sensing. What it does is it shines a light, receives that light back, interprets any light absorption that your skin had, and that's when it determines that there was a blood pumped into your skin. And it'll translate that as a heartbeat. So it's not a direct reading of your heart rate. So if you are going to do something like zone training, it's actually downstairs, sorry. The Polar H10 it's the best product. It's the gold standard. There are independent studies, meaning like third party, not related to the Polar company, that just validate it as an almost medical grade. You actually, some of the medical or the clinical studies that I've read do use the Polar H10 just because of its accuracy, and it can pair easily with a lot of different devices and the watch. So it would be amazing if one device did it all. I'm actually going to purchase Polar's top of the line watch as well, because I'm very interested in seeing how, because they know accuracy with the Polar H10, how they've translated that tech or knowledge into the optical sensing of their devices. They have one device that is, I think it's like $90, and it's solely an optical sensing heart rate tracker that you wear on your forearm. And then they have their smartwatch, which does a variety of other things. I think it's like $500, but it's something that I'm going to be looking into to review, test, and if it's something that has accurate GPS and it also has great heart rate sensing, keeping me in those zones and being accurate as possible, then it's going to be a very interesting device to use and recommend. And I think that's generally it. I mean, there's not much to running. I mean, as far as clothing's concerned, shorts, you know. I know Tracksmith's a popular one. I've had people reach out and say that, hey, if you're going to be running, you should try Tracksmith. Pricey, man. I don't know how to review or evaluate when clothes get to a certain price point, and I don't see the return on it. I just don't know. But I'm constantly on the lookout. There's some other products that I want to look into. Bose has the headphones. So one thing I think that's annoying when people run or ride their bike, and very unsafe, by the way, is in-ear earbuds where you can't hear your environment. If you're being courteous, especially when you're cycling, you need to be like, hey, on your left, on your right, which side you're passing, and the other person sometimes has earbuds in, doesn't hear you, and if you're clipped in, it's super dangerous. If you're running on the roads, or even on sidewalk, people trying to pass you and you have your earbuds in, you can't hear them, and it gets super unsafe. On top of that too, as you're working out, I mean, there's a whole reason in the cold you wear earmuffs is because that's where heat escapes. I don't understand, like, if you're really working out and sweating, how you would keep your earbuds in. They get all nasty. So I like the Bose over ear. That's the one, and then actually the sound gets projected into your ears around it, so it's not actually in ear, and you can be aware and hear of your environment. So I'm looking at those. I just generally haven't been listening to music that often, but on longer runs, as my runs get longer, I'm going to start listening to podcasts again. I do intend to run the Austin Marathon next February, so it's just a goal that I've set for myself. Another thing, Jublo sunglasses. I talked about this in the CES Tech 2021. They were sold out, but they have these really awesome sunglasses that you put on, and you can actually see your distance and everything else, different metrics on your eyes instead of having to look down. Is it that big a deal to look down at your watch? Not really, but is it cool to have them on your sunglasses and test out and see if it's a product that's worth having? You just never know. You never know until you get a product in hand how it changes a different aspect of whatever activity that you're doing. And that's an exciting thing. Just like with the Nerve Run Smart insoles, I see other possibilities. And this was something when I was doing patent prosecution, that you get an invention and you're like, hey, by the way, we can expand the claims of this patent to cover these other aspects, whether or not you know that this could be used for or not, just because it's that inventive of a concept and has broader use. Another Oh, actually, two other companies that I want to look at located here in Austin. Again, another big reason I moved to Austin. Atreyu Running. They have like the monthly subscription. They have low cost running, and there's a running store attached to my gym, and I'm pretty sure I saw the owner there. I just didn't have time to snag him to talk to him after my exhausting workout today. So that's one. I'm very interested in the quality materials that they use to be a low-cost running shoe and how it performs and how it feels against a premium running shoe like the Nike shoe that I have. I mean, that would be, to me, it's got to be like the opposite sides of the spectrum. And then Roka sunglasses. I do use blenders now, cheaper, low cost, but I don't know, they kind of fall off. Again, I sweat, and Roka's proprietary thing is that it's not supposed to slip. It's supposed to be non-slip. So they're more expensive. They're like in the realm of Oakley, like expensive Oakleys. But if it's something that has a solid warranty and something I can use for an extended period of time, then I'm all about it to utilize, review. That's how I roll. So that's all the running tech then that I wanted to discuss today. Check out my recent videos if you haven't already. And again, any support that you have, don't have to, but for the Flatwater Foundation, link in the description of the podcast, wherever you're listening. And August 7th, going to be prepping. You know, I get kind of nervous when I'm lifting in front of a bunch of people and then my totals come down. But you know what? I'm going to do my best. It's for a good cause. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next review, Metcon 7, and the next podcast next week. Later.